If you're signing up for a trail running race this year, you're going to want to stick around for this video. Hi, I'm Catherine. I'm the personal trainer and running coach of Kathletics. Here at Kathletics, we're all about meeting you where you are in your fitness so you can approach hybrid training in a sustainable way. If you plan to sign up for a race this year, whether that be a 10K, half marathon, marathon, or even greater than that, there are some considerations that you need to think about as you approach that race. First things first, you want to decide what your goal is around that race. Is the goal to complete the race? Is the goal to PR? Is the goal to feel good while completing it? Whatever the goal may be, we need to establish that first so we can approach the training in a specific way. Secondly, you want to consider the timeline of the race. So if you are signing up for a race this year, I would recommend that if you just started training or if you are just starting training now, to have your race start no sooner than June. So what I would recommend right now is aiming for races that are between June and October at the earliest, or if you're planning for something in early spring the following year, so in 2026, now it might be a great time to start building that aerobic base if you haven't already. So what it means when we're building an aerobic base is that we have some sort of maintenance mileage that you feel comfortable with, where you have found paces that work for you, work for your heart rate, and you can kind of gauge your RPE, so your rate of perceived exertion within that aerobic base. Now, an aerobic base takes about 6 to 12 months to develop, if not longer, and sometimes a little bit shorter, depending on the person's experience and abilities. So again, if you have a race that you are signed up for in June, you still have time to build that aerobic base, and it may or may not be exactly where you want it to be, but it is enough time where you can do that and then still get specific for the race that you have. In general, whether it be for this year or future years, I would make sure that you are giving yourself 6 to 12 months to prepare for a trail race. Something else that you need to consider when you are signing up for a race is your training availability, because this is heavily going to impact your goal as well as your ability to feel prepared for that goal. If you know you have the availability to train 4-5 days a week, be some of that being running, some of that being strength training, as well as mobility training, having enough time to recover between your sessions, fuel enough, and address all things health and fitness, having the training availability will heavily influence your training frequency. So again, it's really important for you to know what your availability looks like, because if you know that you can't run 3 days a week and you have a marathon goal, it might not be the best time to be training for a marathon. Does that mean it's impossible? Does that mean I'm going to tell you no? I mean, unless you're one of my clients, I'm probably not going to tell you no. Can you do something versus should you do something are two different things. But it is something to consider when you are looking at your availability, what obstacles that you may have coming up in the next 3 to 12 months that could impact your training. Another consideration is that there isn't one best way to approach a trail race or any type of training in general. What you are doing and what your friend are doing could be two totally different things, because we do not have the same 24 hours in a day. That's why I highly recommend working with a coach who is going to help you meet you where you are in your fitness and approach your training in a specific way for you. If you're looking to take the guesswork out of your running program, click the link in the description to learn more about our one-on-one hybrid training programs. Other tidbits of considerations for running a trail race or signing up for a trail race is to make sure that you are considering the environment. So when you are training, you want to make sure that you're preparing for that race day. So if it's in July, knowing that it's going to be hot, it could be humid depending on the conditions. Obviously not here in Colorado, it's drier than a bone, but you want to know what the environment is going to be like so you can predict and plan for that within your training and replicate that if possible within your plan. You also want to be considering the fueling factor and make sure that you are fueling from the start of your training and teaching your body to consume food regularly and try out different foods that are going to sit well with you, especially if you are doing a distance longer than a 5K. This also plays a role in deciding what gear and equipment that you're going to use. Some races won't allow you to have hiking poles or trekking poles. Some of them allow you to. You also want to make sure you have the proper gear if you know it's going to potentially rain, if it's going to snow, depending on what time of year you're doing this. But also training with that equipment and knowing how to use it, so then when you approach that race day in several months, you are well equipped and well aware of how to use it. Regardless of your running goals this year, I hope that you are starting off on the right foot and getting that training started now. If you found this video helpful, be sure to like, subscribe, and then we'll see you in the next one.